Hello, my name is Ms. Wilson, and welcome to another Just in Time segment. Today, I will focus on synchronous teaching and learning best practices. So let's get started. As we move into the age of online teaching and learning, it is important to provide real time online teaching, which focuses on teaching a new concept, collaborating, assessing, and giving instant feedback to students through oral and written informal assessments. In essence, teachers should be available to support students individually or as a group in a real time environment. The first and most important element of online real-time teaching is being prepared. To be prepared prior to class entails preparing a meaningful lesson to meet the academic needs of your students, becoming familiar with your chosen video conferencing tools such as Google Meet, Zoom, or Skype. You may want to practice teaching online with another colleague using the features of the tools. Additionally, you should schedule your real-time online classes regularly and place the schedule with the link to your video conferencing room in your online class, such as Google Classroom. Lastly, you should join your conference a couple of minutes early to ensure a proper connection. Lesson preparation can be a daunting task. So why reinvent the wheel? If you're used to using Google Slides or PowerPoint in a traditional setting, why not use them in your synchronous classroom? You may want to use traditional resources to engage your students. These traditional tools could be used in math, science, music, social studies, in art, and don't forget PE. If you would like to use any of those tools, I would highly recommend that you create a video of you using those tools, upload the video to your channel on YouTube just to save time. Once you're in your synchronous session, simply show the video. You can also show other videos from YouTube just by showing snippets of the video, analyzing the video, and then moving forward to another part of your lesson. If you're sure that you're ready to use your resources in real time, make sure that you have your computer set up properly and your tools readily available during your session. Just as you would use traditional tools to engage learners, you can also find online tools just as engaging. In lieu of a physical whiteboard, you may want to use an online board such as ClassFlow. Use ClassFlow's whiteboard and assessment features to engage and assess students. There's one more thing I would like to add before we begin our first synchronous session. If you do not have a green screen or a way to camouflage your background, I would highly suggest that you find an area in your environment that is professional in nature. This includes a blank wall, a fireplace, a bookcase, or any other area that you deem professional. You should begin your first meeting with an introductory tutorial of the video conference tool. If students are not familiar with a tool such as Zoom, you might even create a screencastify video, post in your Google Classroom, and recommend that kids review it prior to the class. An additional feature to add to your real-time meeting is an agenda, which outlines how the class will progress, what will be covered, and the activities they'll engage in. Thirdly, using an online whiteboard such as ClassFlow or a shared document such as Jamboard will allow your students to properly engage in the activity. Lastly, a discussion on online etiquette or simply norms and expectations of the students as they participate in the class is a must. And you should revisit these norms as often as necessary. So let's recap on how to prepare for synchronous teaching. Identify the purpose for the meeting and the audience in order to prepare an adequate lesson. This lesson can be for one student or several students. As you prepare the lesson, identify the topic or concept to address. Prepare an agenda which will guide the process of your lesson. If you're going to use tangible learning tools or resources, ensure that they are readily accessible during the lesson. Please note that there are alternative online resources that can be used to substitute the tangible objects. This includes identifying and using an online whiteboard and using videos to enhance the online instruction. Importantly, ensure that you create student synchronous learning norms to maximize learning during your synchronous learning sessions. There is one element that I did not mention earlier that I wanted to emphasize now. That is taking attendance during your session. Ensure that you identify a way of taking attendance during your session. You could use an attendance feature in your conference call tool if available. You could have students type their names in the chat area of your room during the session, or you could provide an attendance form in Google Forms or Microsoft Forms and have students complete it during the session. Another element of effective synchronous teaching is familiarizing yourself with a video conference tool. You may want to create a video showing students how to navigate around the chosen video conference tool. Create a synchronous class schedule outlining the dates and times you will be hosting synchronous sessions. Afterwards, populate the schedule and link to your synchronous classroom in your chosen learning management system, such as Google Classroom. On the day of your synchronous session, join your conference room early to ensure that your connection and learning resources are ready. You might want to have a playlist available of appropriate songs and play those songs while students are joining your session. So now that you have prepared your lesson, it's time to shine. Be the best version of you during your synchronous session. You know your students well, so do what you do best. Present your knowledge, this time online. As indicated previously, you may want to play appropriate music right before your session begins to set the tone of the session. During the session, engage your students by looking directly at the camera to create eye contact. If you're using video, ensure that your face is fully visible by positioning your webcam to capture your best you. And position your computer so that your students can hear you. Promote questions and comments by asking relevant questions about the content to assess your students' understanding. Ensure that you allow a proper amount of wait time for their responses. Also during the session, check the chat area or your students' video, if available, frequently for feedback. It is very important that you go over norms with your students and ensure that they follow these norms during each session. Lastly, to memorialize your session, record it by clicking on the record button and alert your participants that the session is being recorded. Remember to post the recordings in your learning management system, such as Google Classroom. Hey, Miss Wilson. Hello, Gigi. Hello, Louise. Which brings me to the following. Before a student enters your classroom, teach them to check their video background if they choose to use video. Students should also log into the Synchronous room prior to the scheduled time. You may want to give them a sponge activity while waiting for others to join. Importantly, make sure that students practice muting their mics when not talking. If your video conference tool allows, you can control participants' mics to lessen the amount of background noise during your presentation. Allow students to share their information that they've gleaned from your presentation. Teach them how to share their screen to show their work. Emphasize the importance of showing respect to others. Allow students to use the chat features if they are afraid of speaking out loud. However, tell them to think before they write in this area. If there are other expectations that you would like your students to follow, please do so accordingly. By watching this video, I hope that you gain a better understanding on how to present synchronous lessons to others. If you can, please like this video and also tweet it out for others to watch. Until next time.